You know the story, right? It's one of the most famous scenes in history. A crowd gets to make a choice: release Jesus or release this notorious criminal, Barabbas. And, well, we all know how that went. But what if I told you there's a hidden layer to this whole thing? A secret that's been hiding in plain sight, locked right inside the name Bar-Abbas itself. A secret that changes everything. Let's dig in.
Yeah, we've always seen it as this really simple choice. Good guy versus bad guy. But that's just not the whole picture. The real mystery, the key that unlocks a much, much deeper meaning, it's right there, hidden in plain sight, in the name of the guy who walked free. Okay, so let's set the scene. Picture this. Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor, is standing in front of this massive, restless crowd. It's the Passover festival, and he has this tradition where he releases one prisoner. A gesture of goodwill, I guess. And on this particular day, he brings out two men. So on one side, you've got Jesus. Pilate's kind of mocking him, calling him the king of the Jews. And on the other side, you've got Barabbas. And this guy is described as a notorious prisoner, a rebel, even a murderer. I mean, it seems like a total no-brainer, right? The innocent man versus the violent criminal. But believe me, what's really going on here is way more symbolic than that.
Now, to really get what's happening, we have to do something a little weird. We have to leave the governor's courtyard completely and jump back in time to an ancient Jewish ritual for the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur. Now, I know that sounds totally random, like what does that have to do with anything? But trust me on this. This is where the secret is hidden.
That's right. The key to this whole mystery isn't found in Roman law or some angry mob. Nope. It's all about this really powerful piece of, religious theater that involves two goats. And understanding this ritual, that's the first step to figuring out who Barabbas really is. So how did this whole goat ritual work? Well, the high priest would take two goats, right? He'd cast lots, and one was chosen for the Lord. That one was sacrificed for the sins of the people. But the second goat, it became what we call the scapegoat. The priest would literally lay his hands on its head, symbolically transferring all the sins of the community onto this animal. And then they'd drive it out into the wilderness to die, carrying all that sin away with it. So you see the pattern. One goat dies for sin, and the other one carries the sin away and goes free. Just remember that. One dies, one goes free.
Okay, so what in the world does a ceremony with two goats have to do with Jesus and Barabbas? Everything. The entire connection, the big symbolic key to this whole story is hiding in that name we've all heard a million times: Bar-Abbas.
See, for centuries, we've just thought of Barabbas as, just a name. But it's not just a name. It's actually a title. And once you find out what it means, that whole scene with Pilate and the crowd, it just explodes with new meaning. So let's break it down. The first part is bar. Now, in Aramaic, which was the language everyone was speaking back then, bar is super simple. It just means son of. You see it elsewhere, like in Simon Bar Jonah, which means Simon, son of Jonah. Okay, and the second part is Abbas. This comes from the Aramaic word Abba, which is this really intimate, personal word for father. In fact, it's the very same word Jesus used when he was praying to God. So you've got bar and you've got Abba. You put those two parts together, and what do you get? Bar-Abbas, son of the Father. Just let that sink in for a second. The name of the convicted murderer who was set free was literally son of the Father. And all of a sudden, the choice the crowd is facing isn't about a good guy versus a bad guy anymore. It becomes something so much deeper, a symbolic choice that perfectly mirrors that ancient ritual with the two goats. So get this, here's the absolute kicker. Pilate, who has no idea about any of the symbolism, he accidentally presents the crowd with two men who both carry the title Son of the Father. You have Jesus, the true Son of the Father, on one hand, and on the other, you have Barabbas, the murderer, the other Son of the Father. And this is where all just clicks. Just like those two goats in the ritual, you have two figures. The crowd has to choose, one to die and one to go free. They choose Jesus, the true Son of the Father, for sacrifice, just like the first goat. And Barabbas, the other Son of the Father, is released. He becomes, in a way, the scapegoat who gets to walk away. This totally reframes the entire story, doesn't it? The release of Bar-Abbas isn't just some horrible mistake or a miscarriage of justice anymore. It's the fulfillment of a really ancient, really deep symbolic pattern. It's the scapegoat being set free. Although here the symbolism gets even richer. It's like Jesus fulfills the role of both goats from the ritual.
He's the sacrifice, like the first goat, but he's also the scapegoat, sent out into the wilderness of death to carry away everyone's sin, which is what allows the other son of the Father to just walk free. So let's wrap our heads around this hidden story. The choice Pilate offered wasn't just good versus evil. It was a choice between two figures, both called Son of the Father. One was chosen to be sacrificed, and the other, Barabbas, who, in this interpretation, basically represents all of us, flawed, guilty humanity, he gets released. His freedom is our freedom, bought and paid for by the one who took his place. And that brings us to the final, and maybe the most important question. Because this story isn't just about something that happened 2,000 years ago. It's a mirror. So if Barabbas, the guilty son of the Father, really represents all of us, if he represents you and me, then what does it truly mean that he's the one who got to walk away free?